If you know this pain when pressing a button to go through a door, but it closes again, just use a wooden button, because they have half a second more delay. You craft them with the stone or plank, but you can craft the stone one too with polished black stone. They power their surroundings and full power the block they are on. The only other difference, by the way, is that you can activate the wooden one with an arrow or trident. A lever can be only placed on solid blocks. It is a non-solid block and is toggleable. If on, it outputs a power of 15 to all sides, but full power only the block they are on. It is crafted by a stick and a cobblestone, but the most interesting thing about levers is that there's a 7-step WikiHow article documented with pictures only about the crafting recipe. You need this spawn block, so you ask what is special about it, except the sound. Nothing, but why do you need it then? Well, you don't need this block in particular, but you need blocks when you build with redstone, because if any redstone signal goes on a block, he's powered, but there's no visual effect, and when you put redstone beside it, it doesn't ignite. So you may ask what is special about these powered blocks. Well, there are a few blocks that can read if a block is powered or not. Redstone torches are a good example. If you place them on a powered block, they turn off. But you can power blocks even stronger. If you use a repeater on a block and redstone beside it, it will power. And here you see that the torch turns off too. Next week you will learn more about redstone torches. Redstone blocks are power sources, but don't power blocks. You can craft them with 9 redstone dust. And you can craft them back to 9 dust. So it's usually used to store redstone. It is the only movable power source, therefore you can build toggles and other things with it. And did you know that you can open chests through a redstone block? Normally, if blocks are on chests, you can't open them. There are a few ways to go around this. Like using stairs, let it seem that there's a full block on it. So you know that redstone blocks have the same functionality. But you sometimes use a heavy weighted pressure plate and wondered why it didn't work, because they output a redstone strength of 1 when you stand on them. Actually, they are all different from each other. The wooden one can detect all enemies, producing the maximum signal of strength of 15. The stone pressure plate can detect only players and mobs, also producing a strength of 15. The light-weighted pressure plate can detect all entities, and the signal strength equals to the number of entities that stood on one, so you can count them. The heavy-weighted pressure plates are similar to light-weighted pressure plate, but measure groups of 10 entities, so no, you don't try this again. Why are there many targets in this build? Could it be that targets are more important than you think? You know probably that targets can do more than just giving an output of how close you are to the middle when you shoot it with an arrow. The output is between 1 and 15, and you can actually throw any projectile on it. You can detect which projectile it hit, because when struck by mouse projectiles, the target emits a redstone power of 4 redstone tick, what you already know are 0.4 seconds. Arrows and tridents instead cause the target to emit a power of 10 redstone ticks, a whole second. It is crafted with a hay ball and 4 redstone and can be broken fastest with a hoe. But the targets are in the build because there are only blocks that can redirect redstone, so you can place them next to a redstone to get powered. Now you know. Did you know that you can save up to 2/15 of a repeater? Just place 2 blocks, one in front and one on the back of this repeater, and now your line gets 2 blocks longer. Do you know why this works? That means that it is 2/15 faster, what can do the difference in giant build. It has way more uses than just full power the block or the redstone in front. For example, you can give it a custom delay if you didn't click on it. It has a delay of 1 redstone tick, what are 2 in-game tick, 0.1 seconds. Each right click increases the repeater's delay by 1 to a maximum of 4 redstone ticks, then back to 1 redstone tick. If you want even longer delays, you need more repeaters. A redstone repeater can be locked by another powered redstone repeater facing its side. When locked, the repeater does not change its output, whether powered or not powered, no matter what the input does. When the side repeater turns back off, the repeater returns to its normal behavior. A repeater can also be locked by a powered redstone comparator. When a vibration is made within the range of the Skulk sensor can be encountered by sneaking or using wool, a signal travels from the vibration source to the sensor at the speed of 1 block per game tick, or 20 blocks per second. And did you know that they pass information only to shriekers if the sound was made by a player? When the signal arrives, the sensor is activated for 20 game ticks. 2 seconds. The sensor cannot detect any other vibration while activated or while a signal is traveling to it. Skulk sensors have a cooldown period of 1 game tick after being placed or after deactivating. During this short cooldown period, they cannot detect vibrations. This prevents them from activating when a contraption is powering or being unpowered. So don't worry about this. If activated, the sensor emitted signal strength of how close it was. So the closer you get, the higher the power. The only way to obtain this item is by breaking it with thick touch in a deep dark. You see, I tried once to stop the sound of a Skulk sensor before I knew how to do it. And I built a contraption like that. And I know some redstoners are already smiling, but let me explain. I had this genius idea because I knew water stops the sound from then to waterlock it, but then I didn't know how to read the signal from it, so I placed a trapdoor which would activate if the sensor detects something. Then I placed the observer to read this activation, but now I had the problem that it activated twice because the trapdoor closes again. So I built a condensator to make out of 2 signals, 1 signal. And it worked, but the easy solution is just place water on the Skulk sensor to reach the signal like that. Never build a clock like that. If you build them like that, they have many problems. You can't turn them off without breaking, and if the server lags, they break too. Clocks work by sending a signal in a loop, so that if you look at just one part of the loop, it blinks. There are a few ways to build a setup like that. You can use a hopper clock by sending items from one hopper to another and then back. The hopper clock is useful to build a very slow clock that you can customize delay as you wish, but it's very loud. And then you have the observer clock, which is useful in some cases. The delay isn't customizable and it can be loud too. And then you have the comparator clock, which is just the best way to build a clock for most use cases. It's not very noisy, it can be pretty fast, and even if the other ones are toggleable, this is the simplest to toggle because it just turns off or on if there's a signal or not. Do you want a separate 7-minute video about comparators?